Okay, a little bit of a bonus extra modeling chat today. I wanted to show this one first, which is the old Airfix Defiant, and I want to say a few words on this one. I haven't yet built the new one, but I will. Now with this Defiant, a friend of mine had built it long ago. I don't particularly like the Defiant. It's okay. It was a bit of a failure as an aircraft, but anyway, I mean, he built it, and I mean, he was just complaining non-stop about everything about this kit. So I was sort of listening to all of this, and I hadn't really planned on building one, but recently, a few years back, knowing that this could possibly be one of the worst Airfix kits, possibly the worst small Airfix kit that they've ever made, and I'm not even talking about the shape problems, which it does have. I'm talking about fit and construction. I decided to tackle it because I quite like the challenge of, and my challenge does reach limits. It doesn't extend to the kits that I've already mentioned that I don't like building, but I will take on an Airfix kit. So I wanted to see if I could do a nice job of an awful Airfix kit. And I can't even remember all of the problems, but I do remember there were major wing fit to fuselage problems and such like. And I did that. So knowing that an aircraft has got major problems, you can sort of preempt that and focus around the areas of wing to fuselage joint, structural strength around their tail planes, everything. So it came out very nicely, even though it's you know, nobody's going to want to look at that since there's a new one. Since I was just stumbling across this, I thought I'll speak on this one quickly. So this is the Tamiya Seiran. And what I did with this one, which came out quite interestingly, even though most of you will say, well, that's not even the right color that you've done that. Yes, I know. This was just an experimental, so I put it together, nice aircraft for a test bed, and then I sprayed the whole thing alclad. Can't remember if this was which of the aluminiums, but anyway, quite a nice aluminium finish. I then used my airbrush to do a little bit of a smoky effect, so you've got the black streaks under there, and that was only for variation. It wasn't anything in particular that I was doing there. I wasn't trying to do panel lines. I was just getting a little bit of variation. But the main thing that I wanted to try after that, after doing a gloss coat to seal that alclad, the whole thing is then done in clear green. I wanted to see what sort of effect clear green gave. And although it's very green, very interesting result, quite nice. The chipping on the decals was sort of natural, and I thought, well, that's okay. I'm not even going to mind that, because when you see the pictures of the Japanese aircraft, there is a lot of chipping, and so be it. So I didn't intend that specifically, but it did it automatically. So yeah, an interesting sort of effect using only the clear green. I can't remember exactly which clear green that was, which does make one think that you should write down a little summary of what you did on a particular aircraft so that you can remember it. And just as a bit of an extra, I wanted to speak about when I look at a kit, when I'm not quite ready to start building it, but I want to get an idea of what's involved, and I want to see how good or bad the kit is. So I mean, obviously we know there's flash and we know there's cleanup that has to be done everywhere. I don't even worry about things like that because so many or almost all of the old Airfix kits need that sort of cleanup. But I am looking at sink marks. It won't necessarily come through. There's a sink mark right there. Now, how many sink marks are there? What's the quality of the rivet detail that they've put on? Now, I don't mind this raised detail for an old kit. Some people sand it away completely. I've got quite a nice method where I sand it away partially, so that on the end aircraft, when you run your finger over it, you hardly feel much, and it's down to the level of quite acceptable, and yet you've still got your surface detail, your riveting and panel lines. But I'm looking at if there's any warping, because if I need to fix warping, either bowing or twisting, that sort of alerts me to how much work I need to put on that. And I have ruined models by using too much hot water, too little at first, trying to bend it more, because you know you have to sometimes over bend it so that it springs back a little bit. I have ruined models doing that. I have ruined clear parts by trying to de-warp a clear part. Doesn't happen often, but you can't do that, so don't waste your time with that. I'm just looking at the quality of the clear parts and just getting an idea. And so, for instance, this Sunderland is one that I have been putting off for ages, and really it's a very, very nice old topic. It might be old Airfix, I just love it, and I haven't built one. And it's not the most difficult of kits at all. It's actually quite an achievable kit for a semi-simplistic build. I mean, there's next to nothing inside there. But I'm looking at the surface detail. I'm getting an idea of well, if I've got a flush dry fit on that side, what's happening here? Okay, I've got a step here which I'm going to have to figure out. Am I going to have to put something in to widen one of the fuselage halves to get it to match the other side? Of course, you know that a lot of times if you see that the positioning pins are not looking great for position, you just take them off and work a section. When I build big kits like this, you do a small section at a time with the gluing, so that you can focus all of your attention on getting one area really good. So this one will be coming up at some stage, but before I even start on this, I'm looking at pictures on the internet, not of built models, but of wartime photos and sometimes aviation art, because they really bring that atmosphere through that I then want to. When I'm building my kit, I know where I'm headed, and this is not where I'm headed. That sort of box art which they went through is very off-putting. I mean, I'm sure that if this kit had different box art, and I do actually have the older kit as well, which has the good box art, you'd get stuck in sooner. But I need that mental picture of that. There's some very nice pictures of the Sunderland sitting on the harbour with the guys going out on a little boat, and it's got that very nice wartime feel, and that's what I would be looking at here. And then I want to see, well, what do I want to do? Undercarriage down, undercarriage up. I don't like the look with undercarriage down whatsoever. But does that mean I'm just going to be putting it down on its hull? Well, probably yes. It's a bit of a big one, so I'm not going to do a diorama, because I just have no space for anything anymore. If you take one thing into the room, something else has to leave. So these two flying boats are going to make a very, very nice set of topics to do. I love both of them. I've stood next to one of these. It is an enormous flying boat. It is an amazing thing to behold. Really do like it, so I'm looking forward to that. However, somewhat similar to this aircraft is that Bristol freighter, which I've shown you in a couple of videos. Now, unlike that one, this one has a curved hull, which means I know I'm already expecting very, very minimal filling. But I do need to watch out, because I don't want to be gluing in such a way that I then end up with a huge filling job. I want almost zero filling, and there are ways of achieving that. And in hindsight, that Bristol freighter should have been handled differently, because that filler that I've got on there is just overwhelming and off-putting. Yeah, add your comments. We've been getting some very, very nice and helpful comments on the videos. I'm quite impressed with where we're heading. And I did want to speak about, on my YouTube homepage, there's a link to the Facebook page where I welcome viewers to post their own builds of anything and everything they feel like. But unlike a group on Facebook, this is just a page on Facebook. So if you want to post something, you have to click the mentions tab at the top. So all my posts will appear in the main section, but under the mentions, you can, and I would like to see your builds. I'm very keen on the way people do things, and especially if they want to discuss aspects of the build. Rightio, hope that was good. Cheers.